thought I might be finished with my videos. I did 10 videos and it seemed to be an ending point. Yet in the night I was a bit embarrassed about what God made me say about all the stuff that I have, all this stuff. Why have I got all this stuff? And aren't we all supposed to be poor? Well, this morning I got up and I read a bit of the book of Revelation. I don't really read the Bible and I don't have a Bible in the house, yet it is available on the internet. So if I need to research anything, I can find it on the internet. And so the only Bible I look at is the King James Bible. And so it's funny, but the first book I ever read of the King James Bible was the book of Revelation. It's the last book in the Bible. That's the first book I ever read in the Bible. And never having come across the Bible before or know what it was like, I just heard about it. It was a bit of an amazing shock to read this book of Revelation. It was like, I'd always been an avid fan of science fiction literature. And so it was kind of like a great science fiction story, the book of Revelation. And it changed me, I must say. After that, I was not the same person after reading the book of Revelation. There are keys in that book which turn a person on to the next thing in their life. And this started me on the journey. And I turned to the book of Revelation when the Twin Towers event happened in America. I thought, wow, that's got to be the biggest event, if you like, in the history of the world. I said, it's got to be in the book of Revelation, because a few years previously, I'd read the book of Revelation, just the book of Revelation, once from start to finish, turned it up, put it away and said, wow, that's amazing. So when the Twin Towers event happened, it triggered me to go and look again in the book of Revelation, and I started to read and identify the signs, the Twin Towers and the two candlesticks and all that sort of stuff. And so it was good for me. It made me start to study the situation in the world, realize that everything was the opposite of what I previously understood. And this is many years ago. It was 2001, was it? The Twin Towers event. Now it's 24 years ago, so nearly. And so I turned this morning to the book of Revelation and started to read it again. And I got to the point partway through, and I said, we kind of get in a repetition here. We've got these two flagpoles that Trump's put on the wall. We've got the rape of Gaia by this bomb going into the earth. It's interesting. This is also a very great event here. And so I read through this and the book of Revelation, and I realized, of course, that we've been learning over the past year or so that everything is the opposite. The lie says that turns everything around. So NATO becomes OTAN. It turns upside down. It turns the truth into a lie into the truth, and so on. And so everything's the opposite of what they say. And if you think about it, you've got two things. You've got Jerusalem and you've got Israel, And so Jerusalem must be its opposite, okay? It's got to be the opposite of what they say it is. So Jerusalem is Babylon, all right? And Israel is the beast. And the whore, the great whore that straddles the dragon, okay? The dragon that it takes its power from, the dragon. It's NATO, and they're all meeting today. It's good timing on this thing. And so I encourage you, if you have any interest in this sort of stuff, prophecy and all that, not to take it literally. One just has to read it, and it's a beneficial effect it has on one in terms of one's virtue. And you'll see that in the book of Revelation, God rises up powers one against the other. You know, you've got the beast, but you've got the horns on the beast. Yeah, the kind of deal to the beast. Yeah, they're part of the beast. Yeah, it's all evil in various levels of evil. And they kill and be killed. And it says in this book, you know, those who live by the sword die by the sword. And the peacemakers inherit the earth. And the peacemakers are the 144,000 that go out, mentioned in this book of Revelation. And this is the order of poets, bards and druids. These are the 144,000. And they're pacifists. They're not involved in this. They understand, yet they don't get involved. Okay. Now, having read through the book of Revelation, I stopped at the point where it condemns Israel completely, Israel and NATO. It just completely condemns them. Yeah? And it says that they will be destroyed. They will be destroyed. Evil will destroy evil. And I said, well, let me do a reading. Let me open the I Ching. And I have a method of opening the I Ching. What I do is I shut my eyes and I do it like this. I go like, oh, is it this side or this side here? And I go like this. Is this side? No, it's in this side. I say, is this side? Yeah, it's in here. Here. Until I end up on a certain page. And then my finger goes, and that's like there. That's it. And then I open my eyes and read what it says. Okay. Now in this case, it went like this. It opened and it went like this. Like it's both sides. Okay, that's fine. Right. Now I've got the I Ching here, so I'll show you what it said about the book of Revelation and what it's all about. What does the I Ching say about the situation today? NATO, the book of Revelation, all this stuff. It says here, revolution, and it's got in brackets, molting, changing one's skin, getting rid of the old skin, putting the new skin on. It says here, it says the sequence. The setup of a well is what nourishes the people, the well, the waters of the well. This is the teachings of the great masters, the wisdom of the world, the well is coming out of the ancestors and their great wisdom. It says that the setup of a well must necessarily be revolutionized in the course of time. Hence there follows the hexagram of revolution. And it says here, it says, a well must be cleaned out from time to time, or it will become clogged with mud. Therefore the hexagram, the well, which means a permanent setup, is followed by the hexagram of revolution, showing the need of changes in long-established institutions in order to keep them from stagnating. Okay, and we've certainly got the complete stagnation of the world order, and we've come to realize that it's not. We're trying to put a name on it, but it's OTAN. It's OTAN that is this world order. This is OTAN. This encompasses all of those who worship the beast. Worship the beast, yeah, and OTAN is what lines it, and OTAN has said, Ukraine is one of us. They said it today. Ukraine is one of us, and the head of OTAN has been worshipping Israel. Okay, just today in the news. So everything that it says in the book of Revelation is topical for today, in fact, and. You might say, oh, well, how could it be a book written all that time ago? It's because the pattern repeats itself. It repeats itself after Jesus' time. The end time is not, there isn't just one end time. The end time repeats itself. There are bigger end times and smaller end times, yet the pattern is the same, and people have read the book of Revelation in respect to all previous end times and found that the pattern is in there, okay? And so it's a universal pattern that the world gets into before the end time, okay? And the abomination of desolation, which is evil in the temple, that's it. And the temple is the government. That's what the government is, okay? And the government is OTAN. All right. Revolution means removal of that which is antiquated, the antique, the old, the ancient stuff. The ancient stuff. You know, I said you know, don't need to say no more, enough said. Now, my hand went to this side as well. And so the first thing I saw was it said, since the image is based on the idea of drawing up water, the meaning of the individual lines grows the more favourable the higher the line stands. So it's in steps. As the line becomes higher, the 6 lines in the hexagram, that when it comes to the top, then it becomes more favourable at the top, okay? And so we get 6 at the top. It says, one draws from the well without hindrance. There's no hindrance. There's no resistance to the water that's coming from the well. It is dependable. It means you can depend on it. You can live your life according to it. Supreme good fortune. And in the top place it says this means great perfection. So great perfection of wisdom comes at the extreme of the end times. That is the perfection. The end time, which is the death of humanity, the evil, complete dominance of evil, their greatest wisdom comes at this time. Now, the boss says, take 5. Now, I edit the videos, I load the videos off and watch them back and make sure it's all worked, and then I carry on. And just before I stood up to make the next video, I heard the message go. My lady called me, and I had actually sent her a few pages. I photographed the pages. Like that. She's German, so she doesn't understand much English. Well, she does understand it good, but it's difficult to read, yeah, especially things like the King James Bible. Goodness me. And so I sent her a few selected pages of it, just the main bits, so she could keep in tune with what I was doing here. And also I sent her the pages of the I Ching that I just read through to you. And she said, and then I said, this is amazing. I carry on the videos on this subject. I couldn't believe that I was going to make videos about what I've just made to you. I couldn't believe it, but I had to, you know, I couldn't help myself. And then she sends a message back with a smiley face and an exclamation mark, and she says, I will read all. So, I don't know why I'm telling you this. There has to be a reason. And so, one other thing that I noticed when I watched the video back was that I talked about how I was embarrassed about the stuff, okay, and I also went back to the beginning when I started this journey. And at the time I started that journey by reading the book of Revelation, I was a rich man. Yeah, I had a big fancy house, and I was living in, you know, I had a good income, and I had a boat, and I had 2 cars, didn't have a motorbike. I had everything. I had a piece of land that I was hoping to develop into something. I was on the pathway that all the materialists are on, yeah, and about 2 years into, maybe 3 years actually, it would have been 3 years into the journey of, became an apprentice and did my 3-year apprenticeship as part of the order of poets, bards and druids. To actually become a bard, I had to give away everything that I owned. So I had to give away my house, my land, my cars, my boat, everything. I gave it all. I gave my boat to the Maori people of New Zealand. It's a freebie for the people on the who own the island of Motiti. It's a pretty special place. And I left. I left with a plane ticket, basically, not knowing for England, not knowing what was going to become of me. Just walking out into the will of God. And my children had to be grown up sufficiently so that I was allowed to do it. They have to be over 16 years of age. And at that time, their mother was able to support them, and so things were okay for the family. They ended up with all my stuff, okay, basically. And I ended up with nothing. And the funny thing is here, and I walked the world for years and years and years, for 20 years, with nothing, absolute nothing. But somehow I got a guitar that I needed. I took a guitar with me, an electric guitar with me, to England, and I swapped it. It was a Fender guitar. I swapped it for an acoustic guitar in London, so that I had a guitar to busk with. And I'd never busked before, and I was hopeless. I was useless at it, but I had to do it. I had to face my fears and become fearless and just do the best I could, because otherwise I wouldn't eat. Yeah, as simple as that. And so I had nothing. I had nothing for years and years and years. I had nothing, no home to live in, no place. I ended up building yurts to live in. First I just found pieces of tarpaulin, bits of plastic to make shelters, and I used my 2 walking sticks that I'd cut. I used those 2 sticks to make a tent every night. It was different, protect myself from the terrible weather in England. And I wandered the world through many countries, through many journeys, all pilgrimages. And eventually God gave me more, greater things. He gave me at the end of the journey. He gave me, my whole life I never had a lovely lady that loved me. The ladies that I had just wanted to use me. They were like witches, really. And God gave me, in the end, a beautiful lady who loved me, and I loved her. And so I found that love that everybody wants. In the end, God gave it to me. No, I didn't find it myself. She found me. You can't chase after the ladies. And then I had other boats that were given to me, but ended up getting a boat, which is my Sarah of North Wales. And that boat was at £1,000 I paid for that boat, and I had to sail it from London, Canvey Island to Anglesey. Very, very difficult journey, which is documented on my channel. And since then I've acquired all the stuff that I told you about. A motorway car, a sports car, a motorbike. I have an engine, but they all come to me for very little money. They're all cast off by the rich people in the world, and they cast off. They've spent a lot of money on them, and they've said, "Oh, I can't spend any more. This is no good. It's not working out. I just got to get rid of this thing. I'll just take nothing for it." Okay, and this is what I end up. God leads me to these objects that I need as I need them. I end up paying very, very little for all the stuff that everybody just wants to get rid of. Okay, so my boat, I paid £1,000 for my boat. I have known boats for nothing. I got a boat once for 99p, but it didn't work out. That's also on my channel. And so my car, my sports car, I think I got that was £820. It's perfect, 20-something thousand miles on it. It's just unbelievable price for what it is. The person who had it before spent thousands and thousands upon it, but got rid of it in case the head gasket would blow on it, because they have a reputation for blowing head gaskets. But then they also have a reputation, the owners of them have a reputation for driving them very, very fast, yeah? And so, and not warming them up before they drive. You know, people don't warm cars up. They get in the car, they start it up, and the first thing they do is they rev it up to 6,500, 7,000 RPM. But I don't do that, yeah? What I do is I get in the car, I turn it on, I drive slowly out, I don't exceed 3,000 RPM. Until not only the water temperature is up to temperature, but also the oil temperature is up to temperature. And only then do I exceed 3,000 RPM. And I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of miles in this car, and it's perfect. It hasn't given me any trouble. It hasn't blown any head gasket, which they're noted for. The MGF could blow head gaskets. And I rev it up when I want to. I run it up to its maximum RPM. Yeah, I don't abuse it, yeah, and so I treat it well, it treats me well. Cars have a soul, and if you respect their soul, they won't give you any trouble. Keep my fingers crossed. My Volvo I paid £900 for. It's a perfect, beautiful, lovely car. Nobody wants, because it's not a station wagon. They all want the station wagon. The station wagon's worth a lot more, twice as much. And when I bought it, it had done less than 100,000 miles, which is very rare for a Volvo. And it's in perfect condition, yeah. And so, and it's got no rust on it. So it's probably good. It's probably a car that could last me for the rest of my life. It's my motorway car, and I found out with the sports car, I need a bigger car anyway, because I can't transport the stuff that I need to Cornwall where my boat is. So, and that's the best car I ever had in my life, the Volvo. And I mean, I lived my life in great luxury and had great cars and stuff, but none of them as great as that Volvo. And no sports car, I had Alfa Romeos and everything, but no car I had in my life. I had Jaguars, no car in my life is sports car, that performance car type, is better than that little MGF. That little MGF is a perfect little sports car, magnificent. So that's the best car I ever had. Between the two of them, I've got the motor, and this is just by following the will of God. This is not by wanting anything. It's just by whatever I need comes to me in the moment. And the engine for my sailing boat packed up pretty much after the first journey. Didn't go the distance, and it was just an absolute pain to have a diesel engine inside a boat. Oil and all that stuff, can't even get near it. And so I decided to replace it with an outboard engine. And I bought an outboard engine for £100. That's all I paid for it. A 1969 model. Yamaha, runs on paraffin and starts on petrol, runs on paraffin. And I've used it for the last couple of years. It hasn't given me any trouble. I reconditioned it a little bit. I had to I did a little bit on it when I first started, got it running, and recommissioned it, if you like. And I've run it for a couple of years, and now it needs recommissioning again. So I brought it home, and I'm still busy recommissioning it again. I've painted it again. This time on the outside. Last time I painted the engine, inside the engine. This time I painted the outside because that got all corroded from being stuck in the water all the time. Salt water. This engine has no impeller, it's air cooled. And this is why in 1969, and it's still with us, it doesn't have the water cooling, yeah. And it's the same with the motorbike. Now you can pay, it's an 8 horse motor. An 8 horse motor, it's pretty hard to find an 8 horse motor for less than £1,000 that's any good. I paid 100 for it, so there you go. And it's been good. Now, the motorbike, I had motorbikes in my life. most interesting motorbike I ever owned was a Norton Dominator 500, yeah. And the last motorbike I had was a Suzuki 450. And at the time I wanted to get a BMW 650, but the place I went to I had saved the money to buy it new. I was going to buy one new. And they were so expensive in the country that I wanted to do it in that I had to buy something else. And so I got the Suzuki. And it was always a kind of thing that I wished I'd got that BMW, yeah. And so I recently found out that I felt like a motorbike, just felt like one. And so I had a look on eBay, and I discovered that there's two very reasonably priced, very high quality good motorcycles that you can buy on eBay for next to nothing. They're worth a lot less than what they cost a lot less than they're actually worth. And the first one I was interested in was a Pan-European, a Honda Pan-European. You can pick these up for 750 quid. And I found one, but I hit resistance on it. I hit resistance from the seller. I thought, oh, what's God trying to tell me here? So I go up and research it a bit better. I find out it's a very, very heavy machine. It'd be too much for me. And so I did a bit more research, and I found that there was the BMW R1100 RS, which is not as heavy, a little bit lighter, but similar. It's a touring motor. I wanted a touring motor. I wanted a motorcycle that you could put stuff in, you could put your sleeping bag in, you could put your tent in and go. Take you anywhere, yeah. So that's what I was after. And when I got it, I thought, wow, this is a big heavy machine, and I'm not going to be able to cope with this. I think I said in the other video that I found it's okay. It's great. It's really, really great. I wouldn't want anything lighter now. That's what I want. And when I came to put my lady on the back, the first I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen now? It was all right. She got on and didn't trip over. It felt manageable, and we went for nice rides together on it. So it's worked out okay. And so I have a better motorcycle, and that one's done 50,000 miles. But some of them have done 300,000 miles in America, some of them. They're very long-lived motorcycle, unlike a lot of motorcycles. And so I'm sure God has guided me to the right motorcycle. I was thinking when I first got it, I thought, oh, maybe I should get rid of it and get something lighter, like a Royal Enfield or something like that. But, you see, I said, but that's no good. You can't question God. Always the thing that you get first is the right thing. You shouldn't really think that there's something wrong with it. Yeah, people do this. Yeah, people do this. They advertise. They want to employ somebody for a job. Put the job advert in, and somebody turns up, say, "Oh, I saw your job advert. I'm interested in your job." Now, instead of just saying, "Yeah, okay, great. That's it. You're the first person God sent. You must be the right one." No, they don't do that. They don't get 2 or 3 or 4 other ones, and they try and compete them one against the other. And in the end, they get the worst one possible. They think it's the right one, but it's the wrong one. The right one is the one that God sent first. And the right motorbike is the one that you bought first. When you hit the button on eBay, the buy now button. That's the one that God wants you to have. And when you hit that button, you shouldn't do it with intent. You should wait until the finger moves. Oh, I hit the buy now button. That's a bit strange. It happened to me. I once bought a boat for 5,000 once, and I didn't have any money at all. And I just watched my finger go down and hit the button for 5,000. My God, I bought the thing. What's going to happen now? How am I going to pay for this thing? That time I'm trusting in the word. I said, well, this has to happen somehow. And the £5,000 came just in time. I'm not going to tell you how. But, it's a mystery. The universe is a mystery. And if you go with the will of God, you get everything that you need. And in the end, God gives you better things than you ever got in your material phase. But just what you need, and gets you to look after a lot of stuff that needs looking after, so that when you die, that'll get passed on to the next generation. That's all it's about, really. And the camera that I'm recording this with, this is the best camera I ever had, yeah, as far as movie making goes. The camera that I have in my bag for still photographs, that's the best one I've ever had. And I even have the cameras that I have here that I could use in play. It's still the best camera I ever had, even though I had a Leica M2. This is still a better camera than that. Okay. The guitars I own, these are the best guitars I've ever had. Not expensive. I have one of everything that I need. I have nylon string, I have a steel string lead guitar, I have a steel string metric rhythm guitar, I have a 12 string guitar, I have one of everything. I have a bass guitar, I have one of everything that I need. This is probably the only thing I don't need. They've got no dots on them. They're on the wrong side. This is actually a right-handed guitar. You can get away with turning a right-handed guitar upside down. It's not perfect. And I really, really hate not having dots on the neck to see where I am. And so that's the first time I've played that guitar in a long time. It's different to all the other guitars I have, and I was going to get rid of my other nylon string guitar, and I ended up keeping it, and now I play that one more. One day I'll probably get back to playing this one. And this is not an expensive guitar, although it's made in Japan. It's quite an old guitar. It's not a solid top, and it has a good sound. These are old strings. Perfectly in tune. And the reason I have all this stuff is because I've done 20 years service, and I've become a druid in that 20 years. And I didn't know that's what I was going to become. I only found myself becoming it by the reality of my life. I didn't intend to become a druid, I didn't intend to become a bard, I didn't intend to become an ovate or a poet, ovate, the same thing. I didn't intend to become any of these things. I just found myself writing poetry. I found myself a troubadour playing songs of revolution on the streets. I found myself writing books of wisdom. I found myself making videos where I talk about everything that I know. And it's the same journey for everyone. And it wouldn't surprise me if all you people are younger than me and not as advanced on the pathway, because anybody who was like me wouldn't need to hear me. They know it already. So all you lot have to do what I've done. Yet you will find that in the end everything will be given to you. everything that you need, everything you love, everything you want, the tools that you need to do what you need to do. I have a whole collection of motorcycle maintenance tools. I have 2 different torque wrenches of different sizes. I have vacuum gauges to set my carburetors into balance. I have sockets sets, 3 different socket sets. I have sets of spanners of all sizes. I have feeler gauges, I have measuring instruments. I have everything that I need. And one can probably thank the Chinese for the ability of people like me to acquire this stuff. I don't send anything that I own, I don't send it to somebody else to look after it. I look after it all myself. I recondition its paintwork. If it needs anything doing, I fix it. If I have to weld something on my car, I'll probably buy a welder. I have axle stands and a proper jack that I can get, a hydraulic jack that I can get my car off the ground easily and put the stands under. We need all this stuff, and what's happening is the guild needs this stuff. And so I'm a member of the motorcycle and car, not car so much, but the motorcycle engineering guild, okay? And motorcycle maintenance is something that I study and carry the wisdom of, yeah? Together with all those people on YouTube who make videos about the subject, yeah? The masters of it, and we learn from the masters. So you can become an apprentice to one of these people just by watching their videos and subscribing to their channel. So I'm subscribed to a channel called 2 Vintage, one word. And if you want to know anything about fixing motorbikes, it's the only channel you need, really. This guy he's great, and he's doing exactly what I'm doing, except instead of having a big collection of cameras, I used to get them and fix them and that, and I used to get the computers and fix them and that. He gets old motorcycles for next to nothing and fixes them, and he'll buy a motorbike for £100 with only 2,000 miles on it. That's his latest video. Not a big one, it's a small one. Because he has a good fortune, he's also working under God, and he's probably the head of the guild of motorcycle maintenance. It's a whole new world. It's all evolving naturally. We find ourselves part of the natural order. And one day it'll all come together in our neighbourhood. At the moment there's not as much happening on the ground as what's happening in cyberspace, and then just with ourselves on the ground, what we're doing on the ground. Yet, as owning a motorcycle has brought me together with other enthusiasts. And these are the knights on the pathway. They all have ladies. They're all couples. They've got ladies. They have motorcycles. And just like in the olden days, you got dark nights and light nights. Yeah, we get same with motorbike gangs. You've got motorbike gangs. You've got groups of motorcyclists. Yeah, and there's very little organisation I've noticed with these people. They're like me. They don't organise. They're just like, I'm going now. If you're coming, I'm going. And you meet on the road outside, and away you go. And so it's a start, if you like, of natural groups forming, and the guilds. The natural formation, because you can't organise the guilds. They have to form naturally somehow, and ultimately they form around a shared interest. And so, what I don't have, is anywhere to put my car and lift it up on some lift to work on it. And I'm hoping that somehow, out of the natural order, this can come, and then this becomes a centre around which a guild might physically materialise in the universe, in your local area where one or two people are going to come together and use a shared facility. Maybe you put your tools there, the ones that you don't use all the time, you know, the personal tools you need to keep because you need access to them all the time, and they're better that you use them. Yet tools like jacks and axle stands and stuff like that, that could all be in this place where they're used, and everybody could share them who was part of that group. So it's early days for all of that. Yeah, I'm waiting, and I have plenty of equipment here. The whole musical band could appear here. I've got drums over there, keyboards, and a few amplifiers and that. And so it's possible that a band could form here naturally without organisation. And it's starting to do that, yeah. There's a bass guitar underway, and my neighbour wants to play bass guitar. He needs to learn, so he needs to come over here, and I need to teach him what I know. And so it's the start of a new order, if you like, the natural order, poets, bards and druids. And the poets, bards and druids, that's the guild of poets, bards and druids. But there's the guild of the motorcycle mechanics, the car mechanics, and any art, the photographers, any art that we practice, a guild can form for the benefit of those living in the area. And if you sum all those guilds together, you get a national guild, if you like, of whatever art we're talking about. And so that's a natural evolution, and no, we can't organise it. We just have to be aware of it, and hopefully we notice it appear in the universe when it appears. I think that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.